The King of Thailand has been on the throne for nearly 10 years, yet he still has not named an official successor. After the death of the eldest princess, the Thai throne was left without a clear future. Two people found themselves at the center of attention: the only recognized son, Prince Dipankorn, and the youngest daughter, Princess Sirivannavari. Today, we will look at 10 unexpected arguments and try to understand which of them is truly better suited to become the next ruler. You will also learn the real reason the prince still has not been declared heir, why the princess, long considered far removed from power, is increasingly being called the future queen, which of them is actually closer to the throne, and most importantly, could this choice truly spell the end of Thailand's 800-year-old monarchy? Many are quick to declare that the Thai monarchy stands on the brink of a historic collapse. These two have already been called the worst heirs in Thai history. And at first glance, those fears seem justified. But what if they are actually the dynasty's last chance? Troubling rumours have long circulated about the king's only recognised son. According to reports in the European press, at the age of 12, he still could not tie his own shoelaces. Servants did it for him. And at the funeral ceremony for his late grandfather, the king, when the entire family stood in solemn silence, the boy behaved inappropriately, laughing and lifting his sister into his arms. But in recent years, the prince has changed. He looks more mature, calmer, and more composed at official ceremonies. Princess Sirivannavari, on the other hand, has always seemed far removed from politics. A fashion designer with her own brand, preferring runway shows in France to affairs of state. Although, since the death of her older sister, she is increasingly being called the future queen. But don't be too quick to write off the Thai monarchy. This story has more to it. Let's weigh the pros and cons and count the hidden advantages each one holds. Who will win this unspoken battle for the crown? Let's find out. When it comes to the letter of the law and tradition, all the advantages lie with the prince. Dipankorn is the only recognized son of the monarch. Holding the highest title, he is the legitimate male bloodline. In the old patriarchal system, that single fact alone is enough to outweigh any doubts. And this is the first advantage. It goes to the prince. What's more, he has not just blood on his side, but tradition itself. For nearly 800 years, the Thai throne has passed exclusively through the male line, from father to son, without a single exception. And this centuries-old order works in Dipankorn's favour more powerfully than any royal decree. The prince extends his lead. But the law is only paper, and here another significant detail comes into play. An amendment to the 1974 Constitution officially allows a woman to ascend the throne, if the king has no suitable male heir. In 800 years, no woman has ever worn the crown of Thailand, but legally that door is open. And here, the princess wins back her first point. But a country is not governed by laws alone. It is governed by living people. An heir must be seen, heard, and perceived as a future ruler. And here the prince's advantage begins to fade. The prince lives and studies in Germany. At palace ceremonies, he always strictly follows protocol, never delivers independent speeches, and barely appears as a public figure in his own right. By contrast, Princess Sirivannavari cuts a completely different figure. From a young age, she has been comfortable in public, giving interviews and stepping in front of cameras without a hint of hesitation. Where the prince stays silent and hides behind protocol, she moves freely. And the score evens out. But it's not just about knowing how to carry yourself on stage. The princess received an excellent education in the arts, built her own international fashion brand, and became a recognized face of Thai culture far beyond the country's borders. If the monarchy needs a modern image the world can understand, the princess already has one, and the balance tips in her favor. But why did they become such polar opposites? Why has one heir spent years hiding in silence while the other shines so fiercely in the spotlight? The answer lies in their childhood, and it is heavier than it seems. This difference didn't begin with personality. It began the moment the palace took their mother away from each of them. The prince was only 9 years old when his mother was suddenly stripped of all her titles. The boy was torn from her and taken to Germany. Since then, his life has unfolded at a secluded villa in Bavaria, on the shore of a lake overlooking the Alps. He has everything: a swimming pool, around 20 servants, silence. His father's residence is just 60 kilometers away, but the boy grows up there in complete isolation. Yet the sheltered prince has an advantage of his own. Unlike his exiled brothers, he has lived by palace protocol since childhood. He is accustomed to rules, ceremonies, and strict discipline. For a throne, that kind of predictability is sometimes more valuable than charisma. The princess's story is similar, but harsh in its own way. In childhood, her mother was expelled from the country along with her 4 older brothers. But the father personally flew to London, took the girl straight from her school, and brought her back to Bangkok. She was permanently separated from her mother and brothers, who remained living in exile. But that separation didn't break her. It hardened her character. Unlike Dipankarn, Sirivanavari didn't disappear into silence. She grew up in the palace without her mother or brothers, yet she managed to build her own name, her own career, and her own public persona. A strong character, that is something sometimes more valuable for a ruler than any title. Today, these 2 people with difficult childhoods are the leading contenders for the throne, and each has their own strength and their own weakness. At first glance, it might seem the quiet prince has long been written off, but that's not the case. Officers of the personal royal guard wear badges bearing Dipankarn's likeness on their chests. For many, this is an unspoken signal. The palace still sees him as the future monarch. The score is even again. And it may not just be the king's will at play. For the generals and the palace elite, a quiet heir is actually convenient. A king like that is easier to control. And this weakness unexpectedly becomes another advantage for the prince. On the other hand, a grown, independent princess with international connections could become an entirely new kind of leader for the country. And if Thailand dares to embrace change, she will go down in history as the first reigning queen in 800 years. The 10th point settles this unspoken contest, 5-5. The score is tied not because both are perfect, but because each is strong precisely where the other is weak. Perhaps that is why the king has remained silent for 10 years. Choosing one means giving up what only the other can offer. But a tied score doesn't ease the biggest fear. What will happen to the Chakri dynasty if the throne goes to one of these 2 heirs? People fear that because of the prince's vulnerabilities or the potential challenges facing the princess, the royal line will simply die out. But those fears are greatly exaggerated. Neither scenario means the end of the dynasty. If Prince Dipankarn ascends the throne, the monarchy will preserve the centuries-old tradition of male succession. Many worry that if the rumors about the prince's health are true, similar issues could repeat in his children, and the dynasty would fade. But even those fears are overblown. A bride from a prominent Thai family will be chosen for the prince, and he may well have healthy heirs. The royal line will continue. If the choice falls on Sirivanavari, Thailand will have its first reigning queen in history. And the question of heirs will be resolved the same way it has been done for centuries in Europe. A husband from the Thai aristocracy or distant relatives of the royal family will be chosen for the princess. She may have legitimate heirs, and the Chakri dynasty will carry on. And while the whole world wonders who will inherit the Thai crown, an entirely different drama is unfolding across the ocean. The king's 4 eldest sons sent into exile decades ago continue their persistent attempts to reunite with their father, so far without success. The king of Thailand has no perfect solution, and that doesn't mean the dynasty is doomed. He has two paths, and each of them changes the country's future in its own way. What do you think? Who is better suited to become the next ruler? The son who will preserve a centuries-old tradition, or the daughter who could become the first reigning queen in history? Share your thoughts in the comments. See you next time.